Okay, we're here on a Wednesday afternoon with wide receivers coach Rashad Samples. And Rashad, coming out of spring, what were your takeaways from your position group?
I think, those guys showed some resilience. Those guys showed the ability to compete, to come out every day and learn, and they wanted to grow. They wanted to be challenged, and that was the most impressive part for me for those guys. Is just taking the coaching, taking the challenge, coming out every day, being willing to learn, embracing the culture, embracing the new coach, embracing the new environment, and really just honing into their craft. And that's what they did. And they took a step in the right direction. And this fall camp, going to this fall camp, we just hope to build off what we already accomplished this spring.
When you talk about learning a brand new scheme, did you feel like as a coaching staff, did you really try to go really cautious, not really put too much on their plate in spring practice?
No, I actually tried to go the opposite way and stretch those guys out. Practice, especially spring ball, is a chance you can stretch those guys' minds out and see what they learn and see how much they can take on, see how they learn, and see what they take to. And so try to stretch those guys out as much as you can, but while slowing it down and teaching those guys, getting a chance to make sure that we teach those guys what they're doing, conceptually make those guys understand what we're trying to accomplish, where we want them to be on the field, the timing, getting a good relationship with the quarterback, all those different aspects of the game. And I think spring ball is a good time to stretch those guys out, but then also take your time to make sure you correct and continue to teach.
So when you have a guy like Elijah Badger and you're coming in as a new position coach, do you spend a lot of time really watching his film from last year, knowing what you're expecting, or is it really just a clean slate just like would be for any newcomer?
Yeah, anytime you come in and you got a guy like with a talent like Elijah Badger, you want to watch his film. I watch his film, I watch his practices, I watch his ND drills from the last few years, and just watch the things he do. I wanted to see how he practiced before I got here, how he played in the game, how his mentality was through a weekly process, see what he was good at, his strengths and weaknesses. It was super important to know who he was and kind of find out who he was on film before trying to challenge him and continue to help him grow as a player. And that's what I did. And Elijah's done a great job, taking on the challenge. I'm really hard on Badge, and it's because his ceiling is so high. So I make sure I personally challenge him. I get up in his grill and find different ways to make him tick. Every way I think he'll be challenged on the field, I try to challenge him, and I try to challenge him off the field mentally also. He's done a great job of accepting that challenge and showing that he wants to continue to learn and do great.
A guy like Xavier Guillory is one of those guys that has scratched my head. I mean, Cap Scatterable, the same thing. How the heck is a guy like that playing FCS for so many years? No disrespect to FCS, but I thought he was Power 5 material, and in spring practice he really proved that.
Oh yeah, and he'll tell you the same thing. He's so confident. And the thing about X is he gets so much better, every day. He really, the details are important to him. The intricacies of the game are very important to him. He's always in the film room. He's always calling, asking questions. He always wants to know. He's a very conscious football player, a very conscious human being. And so I'm excited about his ability to continue to grow, because his ceiling is so high, and I think he's not even close. And so seeing where he'll be after fall camp is going to be exciting to me. And I think it's encouraging seeing what he did over spring ball. I think it encouraged me, encouraged our staff, and I think it encouraged him too. It gave him some confidence.
It looks like in the slot position, you really have quite the battle. I mean, Gio Sanders, who played was the starter last year, was injured for most of spring. Melquan Stallville, I thought showed a lot of things. And to me, maybe the joker in all this could be Jake Smith, who was also injured for most of spring, but those last 2-3 practices really showed why he was such a hell of a player out of high school.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. When you look at that slot position, you got 3 guys who can really go. And I think the impressive thing, the cool thing is you got 3 guys who played ball, a good amount of ball. You talk about Jake, who's leading the nation in touchdowns at one point as a true freshman. You talk about Melquan Stallville, a guy who has plenty of game time experience. And you talk about Gio, a 40-catch guy for us last year. You talk about 3 guys who have a lot of game time experience. You talk about 3 guys who are battle tested, who have performed under life, performed under tough situations. And I'm excited to put all 3 of those guys out there and let them compete.
And did I leave 2 other guys that I thought at times played pretty well in the spring. Antonio Mary, obviously a guy you're really familiar with, and also Andre Johnson. What do you see from those guys?
Yeah, Troy and Andre are guys with, again, tremendously high ceilings who have all the tools you need. We talk about big guys who can run, who are powerful, strong at the catch point, who can sink their hips, drop their weight, and also be violent and physical in the run game. I mean, those guys they aren't limited in what they can do. I think just continuing to grow as players, again, continuing to work on the details, continuing to challenge themselves not only on and off but off the field. The mental aspect for those guys are going to be important, especially in the role they're going to play. You have to be ready to come in and make plays. And so right now, that's what they're saying.
I didn't want to leave out Jordan Tyson. I know that he's dealing with an injury, so might be limited in fall camp. What was behind this addition? Obviously, a guy that had a really promising true freshman season in Colorado last year did most of his damage against ASU, ironically.
Yeah, Jordan. I mean, like you said, he had a tremendous year last year. He was able to make a lot of plays at a lot of high level. He's taking the top off our offenses. He can get in and out of breaks. He can catch the short ball and go score. I mean, you just watch his tape and you see all the explosive things, all the things you want as a receiver. He can play X, he can play Z. I mean, you can do so many things from him, and just, seeing the type of kid he is, the type of work ethic he has, the way, the importance of the game to him. You just know a kid like that is going to work himself right back into competition. He's going to work himself right back into that rotation. And, once he gets full health, the things he can help do are just going to be a tremendous addition to our room.
Last question. I mean, just for the wide receiver group as a whole, what do you want to see different from them in fall camp that maybe you didn't see in spring?
There's nothing different. I think we aim in fall camp to be more violent and physical as a group, in the run game. That's one thing I pride myself on as a receiver coach, and we pride ourselves on as a receiver unit, is how we go out there and run block and the physicality we're going to oppose onto our DBs. So through fall camp, we want to be a lot more physical than we were through spring ball.